Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Rajiv S. Khanna from immigration.com, the law office, Rajiv S. Khanna PC. And this is a call specifically for one company only. I'm not naming the company because the call is being recorded, and I would rather keep the identity of everybody, including the employer, confidential. When you talk with me, the easiest thing to do is just press *5 on your telephone. I can see you and I will unmute you and we can discuss any specific issues you have. So far we have about 91 callers. I alert everyone that the call is being recorded. It will be made publicly available for information purposes. If you have any questions specific to your case, keep your identity confidential. Ask me anything as we go along. That said, let me get started. Shivali, I'm keeping you unmuted. Somebody just raised their hand. We haven't even started talking yet. Give me 1 minute. Let me finish my presentation. It'll only take a minute or two, and then we can get started. Shivali, were you able to forward to everyone the link that I had sent you?
Yes, I did email the link to all the employees.
Excellent. So, folks, you would have received a link to my blog entry. It is at immigration.com, and if you go to my blogs, the very first entry on the top is, what must you carry on your person for identification if you're in the United States in a legal status? I found a lot of material had been written about what to do when you're undocumented, but there was not a lot of information for people who are in legal status. Fact of the matter is, at the very least, your original I-94 should be carried upon your person at all times. That's the very least. Why? Because that is required directly by law. The law says if you do not carry your I-94 with you, then you are committing a misdemeanor, and that's a crime. So you do not want to be involved with the criminal justice system just because you did not carry your I-94. And these days, when you enter from outside the U.S., you get your I-94 that can be printed online anyway, so you can print as many copies as you want. People who are getting an I-94 within the United States, it's a little tricky. Just keep a copy at home, carry your original with you. If you are in between extensions, carry the expired I-94 and a receipt of the filing. The reason I say you should carry proof of status as well as your I-94 is because government can delay you, they can ask you other questions. They are within their rights to ascertain whether you are in status if they start talking with you. So it's a good idea to avoid delays just to carry both I-94 as well as proof of status. Okay. Now, that is all I wanted to say. The documents that you can carry specifically for status, I have listed them on our blog entry. Let me start, instead of giving you any hypothetical situations and discussing things ad infinitum, let's just start with the questions. Press *5 if you have any questions. *5 on your telephone, any questions, and we'll start answering those questions for you. *5. So far I have one question. The number of callers is now 100. We've got 3 questions so far. I remind you folks, this call is being recorded, so do not disclose your identity. There's no need to do so. Let's start with the questions. I just unmuted somebody from Texas. Texas, go ahead, please. Texas, you are area code 806. Okay. Let's see. We've got one more hand up. Let's go to, this is Virginia. Go ahead, please, Virginia.
The question I had is, do we like I-94, we get the e-copy. So is the e-copy sufficient, or we have to carry a physical copy with us, even for the document like I-797?
I think what you should do is, if you have, let me backtrack here for a second. The document that you should carry in the original is your I-94. That's very important because that's required by law. However, documents about status, I'm a little ambivalent about that because they're not required by law. So if you have an e-copy and it helps the, USCIS officer determine that you are in fact maintaining good status, that should be sufficient. If you have the original, great. If you don't, I think an e-copy is fine. But I-94, take a printout and carry it in the original.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's go on to the next hand that is up. And I remind people who are still logging in, 104 callers so far. If you have any questions, just press *5. I gave a quick presentation that you should carry your I-94 and ideally also your proof of status, so that if you are stopped for a conversation by a government officer, you can prove who you are as well as the fact that you're legally in the United States. It shouldn't be any more complicated than that. Did you have your hand up again, ma'am?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll just put your hand down then. All right. Let me go on to the next one. And this is from Virginia. From Virginia, go ahead, please. You have your hand up. Your phone number is 571, beginning 571. You have your hand up. Okay. Let's see. We've got another one from Iowa. Iowa, go ahead. I can hear you.
Hi, my question is, does this apply even for green card holders or probably H-1B?
Yes. Green card holders must carry their green card with them, the original green card. Carry it with you at all times.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. This is I'm going back to Virginia, area code 571. You had a question. You are unmuted. Okay. Let's just put your hand down. All right, folks. I have, okay, there's another one. Let's see. This one is, actually people are putting their hands up and down. Guys, remember one thing. When you press *5, your hand goes up on my dashboard. When you press *5 again, it goes down. So it's a toggle, okay? Let's go to Virginia. Virginia, you just raised your hand. Area code 540. Go ahead, please.
Hello, everyone. Hey, I have a scenario. So what if someone has a green card that is, let's say it is expired, and his case status is still pending with immigration, and then he has only 3 months to file for an extension or something, and by that time his driver license will be expired as well. What if the immigration did not actually respond at the right time for his extension? What he should do? Because
an expired green card by itself is not an invalid document. But under the rule of registration, which we are discussing right now, your evidence of status should be kept current at all times. So what you need to do is you should apply for an extension and keep a copy of the receipt of the extension along with your old expired green card or about to expire green card with it. And that together should be sufficient, no problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's go. We've got 1, 2, 3 hands raised again. No problem. One at a time. Let's go to, this is also Virginia, area code 703. Go ahead, please.
Hi, I have a question regarding travel, both domestic and international.
Yes,
I'm on H1, and I've been reading reports that people have been asked their social media accounts. Are you aware of this, and what is the risk?
Yes,
because
very much so. Very much.
I did campaign for Hillary, so I do have a lot of political posts. What do you recommend?
Well, if that were a cause for concern, if you see my tweets, I would have been deported a long time ago. I hate Trump, and I make no bones about it. I think he's absolutely an incredibly silly choice for this country. So no, I'm not concerned about your political opinions, although lawyers have been advising people that government has been asking at the border, what do you think of Trump? Liking Trump, if liking Trump were a prerequisite to entry to the United States, I think at least two-thirds of of American people would not be able to come into the USA. That's not a prerequisite. What they are looking for is things that point out to you being a subversive element. If, for instance, you have made plans to blow up Trump, that may not be a good idea. Okay, so the fact that they are asking you for your social media, first of all, it raises certain interesting legal issues. First issue is, are you really required to open up your social media for scrutiny of the government? And the answer is no, but then they can turn you away at the airport. They can say you can't come in. Because when you are outside the United States, the number of rights that you have are much fewer, far fewer than the number of rights you have the moment you step on U.S. soil. Because U.S. Constitution protects people inside the United States, not outside the United States. Therefore, disclosing your social media, if you're comfortable with it, is a good idea. But if you're not comfortable with it, just be prepared to be detained a long time. The fact that you campaign for Hillary doesn't cause me any problems. I think that's fine.
Quick follow-up question on that. You talked about rights inside the country, but I'm on H1, and I don't think any of the constitutional rights apply to me. Am I wrong?
No, that is not correct. Almost every constitutional right applies to you, but there are things that USCIS can do which are allowed for them as well. For instance, there are certain things USCIS can do. If they believe somebody is quote unquote an alien, makes me feel like a Martian. But if they feel somebody is an alien, they have the right to ask them, show us your identification, show us that you are in status. So your rights are not curtailed to the extent where anybody can do anything. You have a lot of rights, but there is some confusion about how far the government can go. Warrantless searches, search and seizure, stop and frisk, how far they can go. There's a lot of confusion in those areas. See, I'm a lawyer, not a professor, so I always try to find practical solutions. That's why I tell people, you're required to carry only your I-94, but heck, might as well carry proof of your status as well, just so that if somebody stops you, you can actually show them both your identity, I-94, as well as your status, and that way you are done in 5 minutes instead of 5 hours, which they can detain you for. One more thing, you are within your rights to ask for their identity. Somebody walks up to you, say, I'm a DHS employee. Say, okay, show me your ID. You're within your rights to do that. Another thing you can do is, if they start questioning, you can ask them this. You can say, sir, am I free to leave or not? Because if you are free to leave, you're not required to volunteer anything. Once they have ascertained who you are, they have ascertained your status, you're not required to talk with them anymore. If they say, no, you're not free to go, that means you're formally under arrest. In that case, you can say, I want to talk with my lawyer. You do have the right to call your lawyers. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, let me go on to, let's do a head count check real quickly. We've got about 110 people so far. And once again, I remind folks that this call is being recorded. Keep your identities confidential. We will make these calls publicly available for the benefit of other people. So you don't have to tell us who you are. Just ask your question. Again, we are in Virginia, area code 571. Please go ahead, Virginia 571.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, sir. Yes.
Having I-9 green card, do I still have to carry the I-94?
You said you have a green card?
Yes.
A green card doesn't get an I-94. So, no, you just have to carry your green card, the original green card, with you at all times.
Okay. And if it gets lost, is there a way to get the card again?
Of course. Getting the green card back again requires you file something called Form I-90. And if the green card is lost, I would strongly advise you to keep copies of all your documents somewhere safe. if you are comfortable with keeping them online where your data is basically encrypted both at rest as well as in transit. You can keep it with any service that you're comfortable with. That way you can access the documents if stopped. And along with that, if you have a receipt of having applied for an I-90 replacement or a replacement of a green card, you're fine.
Got it. Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Let me go on to the next one. And this one is also from Virginia, area code 434. Area code 434. Go ahead, please. Virginia.
I'm on H1 visa, and I'm
Yes,
also working with I'm having working with an organization, non-profit organization as well. Is there any restriction on that? Can I work on that? I'm not getting any kind of payment, or I'm not getting paid from the organization. So
there is no problem with that. There is no problem with that. If you look at the definition of employment, employment is defined as work for remuneration. So if you are working and you are getting remunerated either in cash or by benefits, you could have a problem. But if you are working and not getting paid, or getting paid and not working, both of them are not considered to be employment.
And I can spend any number of hours, right? Like we are about to file the taxes, and over there it's mentioned I'm spending almost more than 15 hours per week, something like that. Will that be any problem for me, or?
Absolutely no problem. As long as you are within the parameters of your H1 application. If your application says you're supposed to work full time, as long as you're working 35 hours minimum with the employer, you can simultaneously be doing whatever you want. We had a case in which an employee was technically working 120 hours each week. Government asked me, how can somebody work 120 hours each week? And we were able to show him that he's got 3 full-time jobs because he's a database administrator and he just has to be on call. He's not working those 40 hours each week for 3 employers. All he's doing is he's on call for 3 employers. So it's all rule of reason. As long as you're maintaining your H1 terms, you can work as many hours as you like.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, once again, folks, I remind you, Jayashree has already, not Jayashree, sorry, Shefali has already sent link to our blog page where I have written down a few lines. I'll keep updating that information. There's a lot more that's being developed. Just go to immigration.com, and go to my blog, and you'll see the information that you need. Okay, let me now go to Virginia again, area code 703. Virginia, go ahead, please. Virginia 703.
Hi, I am on H1 status, and I have received the EAD as well, the advance parole last year. So my question is, do I need to still maintain the H1, or can I, if I need to go to India, I can use my advance parole and come back? Or my question, and also about the driving license. So can I get the driving license with my EAD status?
Okay. Now, there are some questions out of this which I can answer. As to the DMV rules, I cannot answer that because I don't know what the local DMV rules are. Traveling. If you travel on advance parole and come back and you're working still for the same employer, even though you entered using advance parole, you are still considered to be on H1 if you care to maintain your H1. So re-entering USA on advance parole does not take away your H1. Okay?
Okay.
However, if you wanted to not have an H1 at the same time, that's your choice. Normally, we advise clients, if you have the choice, keep your H1 active. It gives you another layer of protection. But if for some reason that is not a workable option, being on EAD and advanced parole is just fine. These days, since January 17th, some of the regulatory requirements have become even more favorable for people who have I-140 approvals and perhaps even 485. So I'm less concerned about people on 485s letting go of their H1 than I was before January 17th. So yeah, that's fine. If you want to let go of it, no problem. Travel on advanced parole makes all kinds of sense.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's go to, this is also Virginia, area code 571. Go ahead, please.
Hi, is it safe to go to home country to get the H-1B visa stamped with the current situation going on?
Difficult question to answer. We are certainly seeing a lot more 221. Overall, your employer, to the best of my knowledge, has not had any problems, ongoing problems with their H-1s, visa stamping. So it's a good sign. But is it safe? Is it not safe? I think it's definitely less safe than it used to be. Remember, there is a trickle-down policy, even if it is not written down. So if the White House publicly shows its antipathy, its dislike for immigration, and for, even though he himself hires people for his own vineyards and all, if he shows antipathy and dislike for immigrants, it's going to trickle down somewhere along the line. Already we are definitely seeing more administrative processing delays in visa issuance than was normal. So you could, a couple of things you've got to be prepared for. One is, of course, an outright denial of visa. It's possible. And definitely a delay. Now, you may not be unlucky and may not be unfortunate, might be able to do a walk-in, walk-out or a drop box, but still, overall, visa stamping is more difficult. I would want you to definitely talk with your lawyers before you travel to make sure that there is no obvious problem. Like when you write software, you know there are known issues. So there are some known issues that we want to spot before you travel. As long as they are taken care of, you're fine. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Good luck. All right, let's go to Texas. Go ahead, please. Texas, go ahead.
Hello. So there has been news about Trump administration filing for motion in court for H-4 EAD. So what are your thoughts about it?
When was the motion filed? Because I checked 3 days ago, there wasn't anything new.
Okay. The reason I asked that question is I do have a H-1 prior to changing over to H-4 EAD. So I was in a dilemma whether to go back to H-1 or should I continue to stay in H-4 EAD until something surfaces.
We have a discussion on that in the last community conference call. If you send me an email, just send an email to help@immigration.com. I'll send you a complete discussion we had on the litigation, where it is, what's going on. I think I posted a link to that in the LinkedIn page as well as on our Twitter account. Just send me an email. I'll send you a link to that discussion. Nothing is going to happen overnight on H-4 EADs. I explained the whole litigation, what the posture is, what is being litigated right now in the D.C. Court of Appeals. Right now they are talking about standing, which is not the same thing as winning or losing the lawsuit. So there's a whole lot going on. I've explained it in detail. Send me an email. I'll send you the link.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's go on to, let's see. We've still got about a couple of people who have questions. And we are now going to, again, Virginia. Go ahead, Virginia.
Hello. I got a reckless driving ticket about 13 years ago, which going over 80 miles an hour was a Class 1 misdemeanor at that time. Right. And I'm a green card holder, and I know sometimes when I come back into the country, I'm briefly detained because they see that I have they see that I have that on my record, and they look it up, and then they release me. My question is this Class 1 misdemeanor, is this something that in this current atmosphere with the new changes, is this possibly something that I should be worried about, or is it something that I could lose my green card over?
Oh, no. I want you to do two things. First of all, there's no risk of loss of a green card. What I want you to do is Google something called petty, as in small, Petty, petty offense exception. You are covered by something called petty offense exception, which talks about just one misdemeanor. And I'm not even sure this is any kind of a crime of moral turpitude. I don't think it's a problem at all, even from any angle. But let's just have you Google that. Number two, I want you to go to something called Traveler Redress Inquiry Program. Traveler Redress Inquiry Program. Or you can Google DHS space TRIP, Travel Redress Inquiry Program. What this does is, you can actually enter your information, including the fact that this is a misdemeanor, and this was 13 years ago, in the TRIP program itself. That way, when you are coming back the next time, they don't have to take you to secondary processing. In the primary processing, when you are just showing your papers, your green card, they have your information right on that screen. So TRIP is a way of clearing up your background.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really going to help me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
This is like a 40-minute secondary processing wait every time I come into the country.
No, put it in TRIP. We've had other people with similar problems. It takes care of this issue.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime. Good luck. Okay, let's go on to, we've got about 3 more people. Let's go on to, okay. Let's see, 3 more people. This one is from New York. New York, go ahead, please. New York.
Hi, have the similar question as the previous one, but 5 years ago I had a class 1 misdemeanor, which is DUI, and it's been 5 years and I've never been to stamping. And what is the possibility of stamping now with this condition?
Well, first of all, if you have a DUI, because it is old, you didn't get into any further problems. But these days, for the last couple of years, what they have been doing is, if you get a DUI conviction, you get a letter from the consulate saying we are revoking your visa. What that does is, as long as you stay in the United States, you're okay. But if you travel outside USA, you have to apply for a visa again. And when you go for a visa, they often want you to go through their psychiatric panel to make sure that you don't have an addiction problem. Because if you have an addiction problem, then you are a danger to the people and property of the United States of America, and it's a ground for keeping you away from USA. So this was a long time ago, 5 years ago. If you are still on H1, next time when you go for visa stamping, there is a high likelihood that you'll have to go through the processing. So either you don't travel. If you travel, make sure you have made arrangements with your employer. You might have to stay away a few weeks. Maybe you can work from your home country. That's perfectly okay. You can work from the home country, and your employer can pay you either on a 1099, on a W-2, and they can pay you any amount they want. Once you're outside USA, you are not required to be paid according to your H1 terms. Okay? So that's the way it works.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Folks, I'm reminding everybody one more time, if you want details on this, what documents to carry, just go to immigration.com and go to my blog entries. Your employer has already sent you a link to our blog. And you can also post questions there. I'll be happy to answer them. And if necessary, we can always do a follow-up call. I also remind you, every other Thursday at 12:30, we have a community conference call. We've been doing it for at least a couple of decades. Anybody can log and ask any questions they have. Preferably post them ahead of time. So there's many ways to contact us. Okay, and if you're an existing client of the firm, just let your case manager know. I'll call you back. Let's go to, I think I just finished New York. Let's just put that hand down. Now, who's next? We've got about 115 people online so far. So I remind everybody this call is being recorded. Please don't say your name. Just ask your question. It will be made publicly available later on. Let's go to Virginia, area code 571. Go ahead, please. Oh, let me try again. It's somehow. Virginia, area code 571. Yes.
Hi.
I can hear you, sir or ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello.
So I had a question regarding, like, I need to apply for my H1 renewal and my wife's H4 and H4 EAD renewal. So with the current premium processing being stopped from April 3rd, and with the current H1 regular processing taking anywhere around 6 to 8 months or more, so if my wife's EAD expires in between, so what are the other options I may have? Like, since I assume she cannot continue working after the expiry, so can
she cannot. No, she cannot.
Yeah, so can we reach USCIS at that point or something like that?
Okay, hang on. I just want to remind everybody that USCIS has discontinued premium processing, but they have not discontinued expedited processing. If you Google USCIS expedited processing, they have 7 criteria based upon they can expedite any case, including an H1 case. They don't do it very often, but if you have an extraordinary situation, for instance, my spouse is going to lose her job, please approve my case so her H4 EAD can be approved. You can try that, and you can try separately for her. They can't approve H4 without the approval of the H1. So you can make that argument and try to get your H1, H4 expedited. There's no guarantee that it will be, but it's worth a try. There's no other option other than, of course, she can go through the H1 quota and see if she comes through the quota, have her apply for her H1 as well. That's the other thing you can do.
Okay. Sure. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Okay. Now, let's... okay, we still have 3 more people. Now we're back again to Virginia, area code 703. Go ahead, please.
Rajiv, quick question. There have been rumors, that's what I have read online as well, that a couple of legal immigrants have been forced to sign away their legal rights by the ICE as they were detained. So if you can shed more light on this topic.
Okay, well, first of all, it's always a bad idea to sign anything without talking with your lawyers. You do have the right to talk with your lawyers, whether you are arrested or detained. There are 3-4 different shades of stopping people. One is merely a stop, where they say, excuse me, may I see your identification? And you say, excuse me, I want to see yours. Who are you? They show you their identification. If it's a DHS officer, they have the right to ask you who you are. Even police officers have the right to ask you who you are. They don't check your immigration paperwork unless they have a 287G agreement with the government where they are acting as a part of immigration enforcement. So they can ask you for your identification. That's fine. You show them your identification. Then the next step is they either have to arrest you or let you go. They can detain you only to ascertain that you have the paperwork. So if they arrest you, you have the right to call your lawyers. You call your lawyers come and see you or talk with you, and if you need to be bailed out, you get bailed out. You don't sign anything. You do not sign anything without talking with your lawyers. You say, I have the right to talk with my lawyer, and you can also choose not to talk with them. At a certain point, if you get uncomfortable, you can say, I'm not talking anymore, get me my lawyer. They can detain you, but at least you wouldn't have signed away anything important. Now, I'll tell you this, there are rumors about everything. Some of them are true, some of them are greatly exaggerated, and some of them might have bases that we don't know about. So if an immigrant punches an officer in the mouth, they've got a problem. I have read cases where people argued that the law only requires me to carry my papers, not produce them. So there are some really interesting arguments people make for no reason at all. So I really don't know I'm on the side of the law. I just want to make sure that everything is done according to the law. So if somebody has signed away something, I would like to know more about it. Don't believe every rumor. And don't worry, this is still a country that's ruled by the laws. It's not ruled by individuals. We still have rights. If there's a problem, we would like to hear about it. Your lawyer should hear about it. Don't worry so much. Live your life like you always did. I personally don't feel any more threatened than I did before. I think it's the same country. To me, remember that 50% of the country didn't even vote. Out of the 50% that voted, less than 25% voted for Trump. Out of the 50%, less than half voted for Trump. Out of those half, at least half were people who had agendas other than racism. Somebody didn't like Obamacare. Somebody didn't like immigrants coming into the country. Somebody, specifically, somebody didn't like certain countries or certain religions. So there's all sorts of people, but there are still a large, let me rephrase that, a very small minority. I'm not worried about this country as a whole. Your rights are protected. Okay? Anything else?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now let's go to, we have 4 more people. I have to run at 12, guys. I think I have a 12 o'clock call scheduled, but we have still 15 minutes. That's more than enough time. We can always talk again if necessary. All right, Virginia, area code 703. Go ahead, please. 703, Virginia. You logged in at 11 a.m. sharp. Virginia? Okay, I'm leaving you open. Yes, hello? I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you, sir.
You keep talking about talking to your lawyer once you get detained for whatever reason, either at the airport or on the street by police.
No, hang on one second. Hang on one second. There are different sets of rules at the airport, and there are different sets of rules inside the United States.
Okay. So what
when you are at the
do we need to consult in each of those cases then?
I would want you to call first your immigration lawyers, because if you call your immigration lawyers, and for instance, I don't do deportation work. My work is focused only on federal litigation. So when things get out of hand and we need to sue, either get a habeas corpus to spring somebody or to sue the government against certain practices that they have, I go to federal court. Immigration court work, but I have colleagues who do that work, so I can get somebody involved and say, can you please take over? So I think your primary point of contact should be your immigration lawyers.
Okay, so it's always better to have either your or some immigration lawyer's number on the phone as well. That's probably a good idea all the
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you are a client of the firm already, please contact your case manager. I'll be happy to give you my cell phone number. Respect it. Don't just call me randomly to discuss the weather. I'm sure you won't. But if there is a problem, you call me. I will make sure that I'm there for you. Not to worry. All right.
Thank you.
Good luck. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay. Let's. We still have 4 more callers. I still have time. We should be okay. So let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina, go ahead, please. North Carolina.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yes. So I just was curious about one thing. For those of us who are applying for H-1B this year, if we are currently in process of sending the documents and if they would have reached the office by today or tomorrow, is there some sort of confirmation that we get, or like what's the process timeline like?
Are you asking about our office or somebody? I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you just said.
So we are applying for H-1B this year, and I think the documents were supposed to be sent to your office. So,
okay, hang on one second. Let me see. Sumanji, raise your hand, please. *5. Sumanji, I know you are here. I don't see you. 1 second.
Would you be the correct person to ask the question? Or
yeah, actually, I'm just trying to make sure that I give you the right information, because somebody can tell you exactly. Oh, there she is. I see her. Okay. Sumanji, do you... 1 second. Sumanji, can you answer the question about the process in the office? Sumanji?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead and why don't you tell them, typically what is the process? Once the papers come in, what happens then?
Basically, once we have the check and the paperwork, we open the case, and your case manager would, by the next day, let you know that we have received the papers. If it's H1, of course, the information probably would go to the employer.
Okay. So the answer to your question, sir, is this. If it's a green card, because we are representing both the employer and the employee, actually in H1 also we are representing both sides. So, but we are communicating primarily with the employer. I think, Sumanji, it should be done for both employer and employee in both cases. So make sure that the case managers institute that procedure. Right now we are busy, but in the future that's what should be done. So you should be hearing within 1 business day from our office saying that your case has been opened and we are working on it. Okay?
All right, thank you.
And by the way, Sumanji is our VP Operations and Legal. You can always just drop her an email. She's at suman@immigration.com. S as in Sam, U-M-A-N. Suman@immigration.com. I am at help@immigration.com. You're always welcome to write to me directly. Okay?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And I just want to remind everyone that most of us immigration lawyers, we don't charge by the hour, so you're always welcome to ask us questions. Okay, now going to Sumanji, I've kept you unmuted and Shafali is also unmuted. Okay, now I still have a bunch of people. So we've got 6 more questions. Folks, what you may want to do is, I'll try to get to as many questions as I can. If I'm not able to get to your questions, just drop me an email at help@immigration.com. Help@immigration.com. Put your phone numbers in there. I will call you back or I will write you back. There's no charge for this, of course, because this call was by invitation. So I'll call you back if I'm not able to cover everything here. Okay. Let's just go to, okay, Alabama. Go ahead, please, Alabama.
Hi, Rajiv. My question is about green card filing while on H-1B visa.
Okay.
I wanted to find out what is like a duration, if I have my H-1B visa valid until September 2018, is there like a rule, is there like a mandate that before this date I have to file my green card?
Yes. What happens is your H-1 can be extended beyond 6 years only based upon one of the 2 reasons. Mm-hmm. Either your perm has been filed 1 year ago, or your perm is approved and your I-140 is approved. So one is time-based, the other one is stage-based. If your I-140 is approved, we don't care whether it just took 4 months to get approval of everything. We'll give you 3-year extensions. If your perm has been pending or in process for 1 year, we'll give you 1-year extension. So one is 1 year based, the other one is approval based, stage based. So obviously, to be safe, you want to start your green card sufficiently in time that you at least have 1 year of perm pendency. So drop that deadline for starting your green card is 1 year and 6 months ahead of time.
1 year and 6 months. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's go on to, let's see. We've got still 4 more people to go. And this one is, okay, let me put that down. And that leaves us to go to Arizona. Arizona, go ahead, please. Arizona.
Hi, I'm from Virginia and I'm on H-1 visa. So I'm not sure if this question has been covered, but I wanted to know when you say carry your proof of status and your I-94, is it okay to carry it in digital format? I mean, a scanned copy?
I did answer that question. What I said was, please carry your original I-94 because that the law directly requires. The law directly requires you to carry your original I-94, but the status evidence is my suggestion, because if you get stopped, government has the right to verify your status, and if you have the papers on you, they can do it right there and then instead of detaining you for a longer period of time. So can you carry digital copies of proof of status? Probably. If carrying the originals is too much of a hassle, carry at least the digital copy. But I-94, there's no exception. Carry the original. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's go to, let's see. This one is from Virginia also, area code 703. Go ahead, please.
Hi. I recently went from H1 to H4 EAD. So I still had some time on H1 left, and there are periods when I went to India and I all that time.
Ma'am, you're breaking up. I can barely hear you. You're breaking up. Hello? No, I can't hear you. Sorry. Okay. If you're on a cell phone, you may want to step into a zone where you're better. You have better connection. Can't hear you. Sorry. Let me go on to the next one then. I'm leaving you open. If you get into a better reception, you can.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Better, yes. Go ahead, please.
Hi. My question was, I recently went on to H4 EAD from H1.
Okay. Okay.
My H1 is still valid, and I do have some periods when I went back to India, and so those couple of months, would those be added onto my H1 if I plan to go back to H1, or would those be counted?
Okay. Any periods of time that you are on H4 or outside USA are never counted towards your H1. Okay.
Okay. So for with the H1. Okay.
Okay. Good luck, ma'am. All right. Folks, I just want to remind everybody, someone just texted me that don't assume that your cases are coming to our office because your employer does have other lawyers on their panel. So if the cases are being sent to other lawyers, I don't know how they do things. I can only tell you what our office does, okay? This one is also Virginia. Go ahead, please. Area code 703. Go ahead, please. Okay, I don't think that's the one. How about, this is another area code 703. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I transferred my H1B to other company.
Okay.
And I don't have any stamping in my passport because I didn't go to India. So is it okay? Shall I travel within United States?
Absolutely. Just carry your I-94 with you. Carry your proof of status, and you have your driver's license, right?
Yes.
We should be fine with those documents. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we did well, guys. We covered a lot of ground. And I think, let's see. Oh, I still have, well, I have about 2 questions unanswered. And I just don't have time. I have to go to my next call. Let's do this. Why don't you, like I said, drop me an email to help@immigration.com. Either I'll call you back individually, or there are 5 more people. Just drop me an email. Either I'll call you back or I'll email you back if it's an easy answer, okay? Thank you all for being there. Shefali, did you have anything else you want me to wrap up with? Shefali? Okay, I guess she's not here. Sumanji, did you have any?
Question. Yes, if you could just clarify, when you say original I-94, that's printed from the website. So that's actually a copy and that should be good enough, correct?
Well, that is the original for people who are coming in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's the original.
Whatever they print. Yes.
Yes, the printout is the original. So just keep that with you. That's what I would recommend. Because, see, remember, it's the statute. The statute reads like that. And I don't want to take any chances saying this is a copy. Well, we took a printout that's as original as you're going to get.
Okay. And someone who changed status,
they'll have to carry the original. They'll have to carry the original I-94. Remember, you and I had this discussion a long time ago whether the I-94 should be given to the employer or the employee? And the answer is always to the employee, because it's the employee's property. And in fact, there was a case in 1970 where a lawyer held on to somebody's papers, including the I-94, saying that, well, you owe me money, I'm not going to give you your paperwork. And he was held actually guilty of a crime, because that's evidence of somebody's identity, or actually their status, registration. So there are certain things that you have to deal with very carefully. I-94 in the original at all times. Okay? Guys, I have to really go. I'm sorry. I know that there's 6 more people who had more questions. We'll deal with them. Just drop me an email to help@immigration.com, and I'll get back with you. Thank you all for being here. We'll post this recording online, okay? Bye-bye.